Hello, welcome back to the stream. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Hello, hello. And today I am going to have a small FAQ, and you can ask your question, whatever it is you ever wanted to know about crypto, about wallets, maybe about your hardware wallet, maybe a function, maybe about scams. Whatever it is, just put it in the chat. And otherwise, I prepared a bunch of questions that we're going to go over that I've heard over the past months, years, all the friends and family that I helped. Hey, Bruno. Good morning. Yeah. Or good evening for you. And I will just spit out a few questions and answer them. So we will get started. And the very first one and the very obvious is, what is a seed? Or sometimes it's also referred to as seed phrase or seed words. MetaMask is using a very special one. It's secret recovery phrase. And then you also got the mnemonic seed. They're all the same. And basically, it's 12, 15, 18, 24, 21, 24, or even 30 words that are then generating the private keys and the public keys after that. They are the foundation for your wallet. Then what is a private key? A private key is just a string of letters or numbers. Usually for Ethereum, for example, it's 64 characters long. And you have letters from A to F and 1 to 9 or 0 to 9. And this private key then generates the public key through elliptic curve algorithms, basically. It's a lot of math. It's very complicated. I'm not going to go into that. But the magic is that you can only derive from the private key this one specific public key. And then with the public key, you have your address, you have your way of receiving funds, and the private key is the thing that allows you to actually spend the funds that are on a specific address. Okay, so what is a hardware wallet? A hardware wallet is a device that is, actually, let me bring that up. That's like a small USB connection type. This is a Trezor Model T, for example. So do I have my others here? I have those. Two more. Like those guys. Those are ledgers. Those basically store the seed phrase, and then inside there are usually 1 or 2 chips that are dealing with the entropy of generating the seed words. They are spitting out on a display your seed words, so you can write them down and then ideally also stamp them in metal later on. And they do all the required maths for signing transactions, so you do not have to expose your private key, which can be dangerous to expose to any type of software, any PC, any phone, any tablet, so that it's only on the device. And this makes your life so much easier and more secure. So everybody should get a hardware wallet. What is a passphrase then? So it sounds very similar to seed phrase, but it's actually an addendum to the normal 24, 12 or 24, 30, whatever seed words they are. A passphrase is something that you can freely choose yourself. It can be, however, whatever characters you want it to be. And it's basically a 25th word. When you have your, for example, the 24 words, you add this 25th word, and then can be I love banana peels 23. And then instead of using your 24 seed words to generate all the private key pairs down the line, it will generate from 25 words. with your additional word, which changes the hash that is created, and then in turn creates also different kinds of private addresses. So even if your 24 words, for example, get somehow compromised, but the attacker doesn't have that 25th word, he wouldn't be able to steal your money or get access to your wallets or even find out your public addresses, because this 25th unique passphrase word saves you from it. And sometimes in Trezor, for example, it's also referred to as a hidden wallet, not a passphrase. Ledger usually refers to it as a passphrase. How do you choose a good passphrase? Ideally, you want as much entropy as possible for it. So you want proper length. I suggest at least 20 to 32 characters. You want letters, numbers, maybe special characters, but that depends on what type of characters you can stamp into metal. So if you are just writing them down on paper, it's very flimsy and then can get lost and can get burnt and can get wet with water. Your dog can eat them. But if you want to later stamp them in metal, you ideally want to choose characters that you are able to stamp. So if you have a stamp set that only has letters, then you are limited with your passphrase also only to letters. But if you have one that has special characters, it has capital letters, lowercase letters, special characters, numbers, then you can expand the complexity of your passphrase. But I would actually suggest to make it easy to remember and not do something crazy like D499 3x drgable 59. You don't want that kind of passphrase. What you want is a passphrase that you can easily remember, but is that sufficiently long for sufficient entropy. So that would be something, like I said earlier, banana peel 23 going wild. And then ideally, you want also a word in there which is not a dictionary word. Because if your seeds can compromise and your passphrase is just dog, that is quite easily hackable, like within less than a second. But the more entropy, the more complicated your password is, the longer it is, the more characters it has, the harder it is to brute force that additional 25th word. Okay. What is a PIN? A PIN is usually a short password made out of numbers, and those are usually used for hardware wallets. So the protections you have in total then are, you have your seed words, which are generating the private key and the public key. And you have then the PIN that protects the hardware wallet from unauthorized access. So in this device, for example, you would type in the PIN on the display to get access to the device. So you can sign, click, look up your public key and so on. The next question, the next FAQ is, what is a brain wallet? So in the very, very early days, before we had all the HD wallets and so on, when people were still coming off the just having private keys, where they only had the string of numbers and letters, they started creating the mnemonic seeds, so with words. And some people thought it might be a good idea to have something that's easy memorable that they can then memorize to memory, to the brain. So that, for example, a song, hey, hey, do whatever, they would memorize the song and use this as your seed phrase. Or they would also generate like 12 seed words and then memorize those 12 words and then store them in their brain, which is a rather high risk because the brain doesn't really remember things very well. If you think about, well, what is what is something that I ate like 2 weeks ago? So you really have to think hard about storing something, especially if it's something random like 12 or even 24 words. So if you try to memorize that after 2, 3, 4 years and you didn't have access, or if you get hit on the head, something happens to you, then that brain wallet is basically lost and you would lose access to all your funds as well. Brain wallets are not a good idea, especially not a good idea if you use any kind of brain wallets that use easy techniques to memorize them. Like songs, some kind of poetry, any passage from a book or anything, because there are a lot of hackers or just enthusiasts that are setting up real bot farms, and they have whatever imaginary, sorry, not imaginary, whatever text that exists in the world, all the books, all the internet websites, all the songs, all the lyrics, whatever you can find. They are running them constantly through generators and brute forcing all the different kinds of seed words that were chosen, not randomly, but by a normal human. And then those addresses just get rinsed immediately. There is from wallet.fail, there is I think it was wallet.fail. There is a really cool talk where they show the example of just running a few of those generating random or dictionary words, and they found like 700 Bitcoin or something on one of the addresses just randomly, because it was a wallet made, a seed word made by one person by themselves with their own words. So they are very insecure and you shouldn't use them. Speaking of insecure, what is a hot wallet? A hot wallet is a wallet that you only use for specific payments that you want to have right now, and that might be on your phone, or that you interact with exchanges, or that you interact on a daily basis with. And the best practice for a hot wallet is to never have too much funds or monetary value on it. So maybe you want to pay daily things or your next groceries or whatever, or the coffee or something, and you really want to go hardcore on using crypto every day. So maybe then you want to allocate like 200 or 300 bucks worth of crypto onto your hot wallet, and then you're good for that. You don't need to put all your cold storage funds on it. Which brings us to the next question. What is a cold wallet? A cold wallet is ideally a private key that never touches any other PC and that is never exposed to the internet. So this way you can send funds to the cold wallet, and then those funds are so-called in cold storage. They are completely off the internet. Nobody can get to them, but hopefully you have backups and you have the means to spend the funds that are on them, because you have still the private key in your own possession, hopefully in metal. What is a seed backup? Well, a seed backup is just the 12 or 24 words, usually written down on any other medium than your hardware wallet. Most people write them down in paper, which is okay for the beginning, but as soon as you get everything set up, you should transfer them into a better medium. That can be metal, that can be at least, well, metal is the best, but it can be also can be stainless steel, but even better is titanium if you get to. So they're both metals. And there is also the possibility of storing them on a USB key. But should you? For the average user, no. Because whenever you deal with a USB key, is the issue that, first of all, you have bit rot. So the data on the USB key is actually degrading. If you stamp your stuff in metal, the information is there for as long as this metal is still in one piece. But if you leave your USB key lying around for just like 2 years or so, there is the potential of failure because the chips and the capacitors and everything that are on the USB key, they need just a little bit of charge. If you do not have that, there is the potential that the memory is actually wiped. And then if you don't have sufficient other backups, or if you don't renew the USB key every year or so, you also have a critical data loss, and then you won't be able to recover your seed phrase. And this means you don't have access to your private keys. And this means you don't have access to your funds anymore, which are stored in this address. Next question. What are RPC settings? So this is stands for remote procedure call. And this is basically a web server that is allowing your connection from your PC to the blockchain. Usually you need to run a node to be able to interact with the blockchain because they are their own network. It's outside of the internet, so to say. But not everybody has the possibility to run his own node. Ideally, everybody is so decentralized that everybody has his own node and then can interact with the blockchain data directly so that they can sign their own transactions, make sure that the state of the network is correct and up to date, and so on. But it is, for some people, just not viable. So the node that is offering this RPC service, they are basically allowing you to connect remotely through their node to get to the blockchain data and then send your signed transactions to the actual blockchain network. What is multisig? Multisig is a system that allows multiple parties to have access to the same address and then manage those funds. Most of the times it's referred to as a 2 out of 3 access, but you can also do your own scheme, for example, 5 out of 7, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 10, or whatever. However many different parties you want to have control over an address, you can set that up. There is a very important note though. Should you use a multisig? And I would say for the average user, no. Because the issue with multisig is that it's not a redundancy feature. The multisig requires you to know the 3 public keys. So you need 2 out of 3 for the hash to work. But if you ever lose your one of the access points, so you lose your private key and the public key for whatever reason, then you won't be able to sign your transactions for this multisig anymore because you need all 3 public keys. You need to know them for the hash to work, for the signed transaction to work, because it is part of the overall structure, the script that is running in the background. So be careful with that. And then you probably heard also about Gnosis Safe. So what is Gnosis Safe? Gnosis Safe is an Ethereum multisig type of wallet that allows you to have those n out of people access, 2 out of 3, for example, again. And it has the option to be used remotely even. So you still can connect with whatever seed phrase you're setting up for yourself, but it has also additional features like changing the changing the private key that is controlling this multisig, and changing the public address that is shown to the outside, and so on. There are a lot of features that are added on top of it because the Gnosis Safe itself is a smart contract that you interact with on the blockchain. And then you can change a lot of stuff. It's just convenience, basically, that with added functionality. But it also comes down to it also creates a problem, and that is gas fees. Because on Ethereum, if you use Gnosis, every time you do work, you have to pay for that work, for that interaction on the blockchain. So you have to watch out with that if you use that. There are other chains like Pulse Chain or BSC and so on, where you can use similar smart contracts, which would be cheaper to use. But then you also limit it only to those chains. Again, like I said, for the average user, I would not recommend to use multisig. I would recommend to have, especially if it's for home use, I would recommend to have a hardware wallet and then have proper backups, at least 3. What do we have here in the chat? Somebody is advertising. Hey there, I want to work as a thumbnail designer and video editor for you. Okay, but I really don't need that. Thank you, though. I'm really self-sufficient. And good to be here today. Hey, thank you, Moonmat. Welcome, welcome. So, next question. What is SMS 2FA and should you use it? And the answer is no, you should not use it. Basically, SMS 2FA is allowing recovery and additional options for accounts to be sent through SMS to you. So if you lose your email, if you get your password, if you need to verify that you are the person that owns an account, you will get an SMS, and it has usually like 3, 4, 5 numbers or letters in it that you have to type in to verify that is indeed you. And because you are supposed to be the only one with that SMS number, the service then assumes that, yeah, this is the original user that set up the account. But there is a big issue with that, and that is it's rather easy to steal the number. And what hackers do is, or scammers do is, either they have somebody on the inside in a carrier phone support or whatever, and then they're able to just take the number and exchange it onto their own new number. So then the routing is changed, or they set it up on their phone, and then they have the new number, and then they will be able to receive and complete the verification steps onto his 2FA. And because 2FA allows usually for full access, and in case of a critical issue, they get full recovery access, and then your account is just lost. This is especially important for centralized exchange accounts, anything that you have to do with crypto, even your email. For example, Gmail asks you to set up your phone number when you create the account. This is one of the first things to remove after you have done the basic setup of the email and also accounts. What is better is using a UBI key or an authenticator. And ideally, you would want to use the Authy authenticator just to be as much removed as possible from the Google services, because they have such a big conglomerate getting with their fingers into everything. But I do understand if some people are still using the Google authenticator for that, it's okay. Like I get it. It's very convenient. It's better than not using a 2FA authenticator at all, and it's way better than using SMS verification. And we spoke of crypto exchanges. Why shouldn't you keep your crypto on exchanges? And that risk is basically middleman, because the exchange can go down, they can lock your funds, they can try to verify you with unnecessary information, and they can spend your funds as they want, and they can get hacked. So in any of those situations, you basically lose access. How do you mitigate that? The easiest way is to just use a portion of your funds and then slowly get it to your own self-custody wallet over time. For example, if you want to spend, let's say, $50,000 to buy crypto today, and you're like, yes, I want to get in. Maybe you spread it out over different exchanges, and you do only 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 each time. Or you do it on one exchange, but then you do it one at a time. You send in 10,000, you buy your crypto, you send it out to your own self-custody wallet on your hardware wallet, ideally, and then you do the next 10,000. This way, your risk is only 1/5 at a time, and then you can manage it as you want. So if you maybe have 50,000 and you want to minimize your risk even more, so you do only 5,000, that's 10% at risk at one time. Let's see, where were we? Why should I verify the first 4 and the last 4 digits whenever I do a transaction? This is a security best practice, so that you always double, triple, and quadruple check that you are actually sending to the correct address. Especially if you're completely new, if you are setting up your wallet for the first time, you want to get used to always verify your address in the beginning. But the problem with verifying only the first 4 and the last 4 digits is that scammers and hackers got acquainted to that, and now there are a lot of wallets that actually only show those 4 first and 4 last digits. And then what happens now is that there is the poison address attack, where hackers send just a little bit of funds, or even a zero transaction, a zero ETH, a zero USDC transaction, and they generate the exact same address as you, but it has something else in the middle. So your address might start with 0DAF and then ends on 569, and the hacker will generate these exact endings of the address to try and trick you into just using the last address, click on it in your wallet, and then send the funds. And then you're unaware of sending the funds actually to a hacker who is just creating a very similar address to yours. The best way to go around this is always double, triple, and quadruple check the full address, not just the first 4 digits. If you know what you're doing, then yes, you can get around with just using the last 4 or so, but it's riskier. So just be aware of that. And the second solution to that is using, what's the word? Can't think of what it's called. But you're basically saving the address. No, I lost it. I just had it. Favorites. Yes, it's called favorites. You're saving your address to your favorites, and then you know that I am only sending funds to those addresses that I have whitelisted in my favorites. So I know that they're safe, and I know that they are my friends, my family, a specific exchange, or even my own alternative wallets that I have set up for me. So now, even if a hacker is trying to send with those very similar addresses, because you're always going through your favorites and not just clicking the last address interacted with, you are on the safe side. And then on the same topic, what is a test transaction? So whenever you interact with something new, or you are unsafe, if it's actually not a scam, if you want to test things out, you should always do a test transaction. Let's say, for example, you want to interact with a new smart contract, with a new bridge system, with a new gnosis safe. You want to interact with a new NFT project. You want to interact with, I don't know, whatever else is out there in the contract world. You ideally want to just send, or even just a new address. Maybe you set up a new wallet. You want ideally to just send a little bit there, maybe a few cents or just $1 or $2, just to see that you can actually send it back, that you can manipulate, that the smart contract is doing what it's supposed to do, before you are committing to sending a full amount of your funds, like thousands of dollars to it. So this way you're risking a little portion of your funds instead of getting this bad awakening call where you're sending $1,000 to a smart contract or a bridge, and then you realize, oh shit, the bridge is down. Because that's exactly what happened to AJ recently. He tried to interact with the Seller bridge, it was, I believe, and it's a defunct, closed, non-functional bridge, and everybody who's sending money to is just losing the money. And then we got Robert Keller Jr. Hello, welcome. Good afternoon, das Baum. He says, shame there is a way to shut down the hacker with a kink, a virus protection like companies have for S and other programs. Not link, but some kind of protection. Yeah, well, that's what you get for permissionless open crypto, right? So you have this decentralization. Everybody can do whatever they want, but then you also got people abusing it. So it's like you get one or the other. And I think the benefits just outweigh all the downside. And overall, people will get better and better at spotting scams. Just like in the beginning, people were falling more and more for email scams and so on. And I think the filters, the security features, and so on, they will get so good over time that those common scams will be diminished more and more and more. And we already see this now with websites that verify contracts. You got the Aurochs wallet that is simulating your transaction before you actually complete it. So it does a test of what would happen if you're sending the transaction. There are security features in Rabby that are saving you from sending, because they have all those blacklisted scam, and they do checks on smart contracts to find out if they are malicious or not. Yeah. For example, if you send something to a honeypot scam or so, they would be able to check that in advance and then find out, oh, this contract is actually written in a way that doesn't allow you to take out the money to trade it back, even if it's on a like completely legit decentralized exchange. The smart contract itself can still be written in a way that doesn't allow you to get your money back. Yeah, actually, there's a good question. What is a honeypot scam? That is a smart contract that is maliciously written to steal the user funds by creating a liquidity pool and then only allowing to buy the asset, but not being able to sell the asset. So the scammer or the hacker, he sets up, for example, the Peach token and then a USDC pool. He creates some fake trading on those pairs, trying to emulate activity volume. And then it looks to the unknowing user, it looks like, oh, people are buying this token. People are trading it. People are selling and buying and so on. There is lots of activity. I like the logo. And then the user goes to buy it, some of this token with his USDC. But then what he realizes is that he cannot sell the token anymore. He can only buy, and he gets an error when he's interacting with the decentralized exchange again. So now his USDC is stuck in this pool, and he cannot get it out. But the hacker or the scammer that is owning the pool and has set up the wallet, he is still able to extract the USDC, and then the user is basically out of the money. That's a honeypot scam. Next question. And Robert Keller Jr. says, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs ups. Thank you. Do I need a separate PC or laptop for crypto? So I did a full series on that actually on my channel. You can check out the free videos about that, and goes very specific, very detailed of what laptop to get, how to get it, why you should get a laptop. And the quick rundown is that it creates an additional protection from you yourself and from other programs that you're running on your everyday PC. So if you're, for example, just clicking on links, searching the web, downloading programs and so on, there is always a chance that you're somehow clicking phishing links, downloading malware, interacting with something that you shouldn't, that is compromising the security and then steals your data from your laptop. So if you have a separate machine that is only for crypto, then it's more secure than your normal laptop. So this is why you should get ideally crypto laptops. Usually it's worth, by the way, after like $5,000 to $10,000 to get a special machine only for crypto. Because they're usually in a price range of like 300, 400 at the lower end, dollars or euro. And if you are just spending, I don't know, $500 in crypto just to test it out, you don't need to start out with a crypto only laptop, because the laptop is like much more expensive or the same price as what you're inputting into crypto. So it would overdo that. So if you're just doing a test in the beginning, it's okay to use your normal PC. But then the more advanced you get, the more funds you have in crypto, the more you should think about separating your normal internet access, your normal internet activity from your crypto activity, right? You want them to be apart as much as possible to create a higher security threshold for it. I need to give away my crypto only PC or Mac for repair. What do? Don't do it. Basically, if you ever have to give away your crypto laptop, there is a chance that whoever has access to it, especially if you save any critical data like your software wallet, your passwords, even if you store private keys or seed phrases, which you shouldn't do. You should not store your seed phrases, and you should not be using software wallets, because the moment somebody has access to your laptop and he is able to go into it during the repair, he might be able to steal your crypto. So there are some things that are mitigating that, like the password on a software wallet, but it's not recommended to give away anything that is related to your crypto laptop. That means also, ideally, if you ever have to get rid of your crypto laptop, you should take out the RAM and the SSD. Sometimes it's like an M2 slot, so that the data that you used on the crypto laptop is not compromised, and that nobody can ever find your seed phrase, whatever you used it for, your public addresses, and so on. So you, if it's completely bricked, you just destroy it. You take the hammer to it, you throw it into a molten lava pit. I don't know, but you want to get rid of it, and no one should be able to use it. Okay, where were we at? And then, yeah. Do I need a hardware wallet? Or this influencer, this streamer, this person X told me that he's not using a hardware wallet. Why should you? And that is because it's the easiest, the most convenient, and the fastest way to secure any of your crypto. It removes so much headache, it removes so many issues, and it removes a lot of traps that you can fall into if you're using crypto, especially for the first time, and you don't know about certain risk. For example, if you have your software wallet set up and you're not using it with a hardware wallet, there is a chance that you didn't set up a backup. So you're just using it on your laptop, and then the laptop just crashes critical failure, bams, you lost access to your seed words if you don't have a backup. There is the possibility that malware will actually read out the seed phrase on your PC or your laptop and then steals all the funds. There is even the possibility that they try to send you fake smart contracts or fake sign messages, fake websites, and then if you interact with just the hardware wallet, there is no check, there is no second way of approving the transaction. So you're immediately signing the transaction on the software wallet, and then you're also faster out of your money. With a hardware wallet, you got that extra verification, the check. You have to click usually 2 buttons, or you have to confirm it, and this one step more protects you from misclicks or doing anything hasty which would compromise your security or let you do a mistake just because you're too fast, you're too emotional, to whatever. And yeah, they're just overall better protection. Another common question with hardware wallet is, can I use hardware wallet Bluetooth? There is, for example, the Ledger Nano X that has that, and those allow you to connect your hardware wallet to a phone, because with phones it's usually not feasible to have some type of USB connections, which most hardware wallets are. And ideally, if you use a hardware wallet with a PC, laptop, or Mac or anything like that, you do want to use hardware wallets that only have a USB connection. You don't want the Bluetooth connection, because those have the additional attack vector of remote access. So right now, the protocol itself, there is no known exploits, but there might be some type of attack that comes later down the line where the Bluetooth is exploited in a way where somebody suddenly gets access to your Bluetooth connection, and then can also in turn access the signing, or even worse, the seed phrase on the hardware wallet. Just because of that risk, you should not be using Bluetooth. But there is the use case and exception where if you want to have a hot wallet which doesn't have your cold storage funds, which is only a small portion of it, then yes, I would actually suggest to use a Bluetooth supported hardware wallet, just to secure the funds that are on your phone even more, because it's not advisable to use your phone to use a software wallet without a hardware wallet. It's just a bigger attack vector, and there is reduced attack vector if you use the hardware wallet, even if it's with Bluetooth. Okay. What happens if I lose my hardware wallets? That is pretty straightforward. You should have a hardware wallet backup. Those are your 12 or 24 seed words usually, ideally in metal. And then you can simply get a new hardware wallet, or if you don't have access to a new hardware wallet and it's like really, really pressing, you could even introduce those seed words into a software wallet. But that is only for a super, super pressing, absolutely life-threatening situation or whatever. Because anytime you type in your seed words into a keyboard, they are basically compromised, because you don't know what is on your laptop. You don't know if any of the hardware is forwarding the seed phrase. You don't know if anybody is watching you type it in. You don't know if anybody is listening typing you in. There are nowadays software and algorithms that can recognize text just from a typing pattern and the sound. And usually devices like mobile phones, they're always listening. So you should never type in your seed phrase into any type of keyboard. And then next question. Can I choose my own seed phrase? I covered that a little bit earlier. So ideally, you do not want to do that because they're just being brute forced, and it's a lot. It's reduced security by a lot because you as a human just cannot create the same entropy, the same randomness, the same the same diffusion of chance from your brain. A computer, a random number generator, is just so much better at it than a human brain because we cling to specific memes, to tropes, to information that we know, and then this reduces the entropy by so much that somebody who has a bot farm can easily brute force the information or just try to guess it basically, or is using information that is already available, like the songs and so on, what some people use, that what I talked about earlier. So not advisable. Can I change my seed phrase? I get that message actually a lot. No, you cannot change it because the seed phrase is the ultimate key from which the public addresses and the private address keys are generated. So what if you are generating a seed word, your seed words, you are stuck with that specific address, and if they're compromised, your this wallet is done. You can never use it again. What you can do though is, if you need a completely new set of seed words, you can generate a new one. Now, this is particularly difficult if you have something that is locked in some of the addresses. For example, if it's stakes that are locked, if you have a time lock that is not possible to circumvent, any type of that is always limited to this one address, and you cannot change it after the fact. The only way would be to transfer the coins out of the old seed phrase into the address of a new seed phrase. What else? Can I choose my own seed phrase? Can I change myself? Can my friend or neighbor help me set up my wallet and my seed phrase? In general, yes, he can help you set up with all the technicals, the explaining, but the moment that you can do like a test run where he shows you an actual example of how to generate the seed phrase. But even if it's your best buddy, if it's your family member, if it's your wife, it's your kids, whatever, they shouldn't have access to the seed phrase because it's just compromises it. And anybody who has access to the seed phrase also has access to all the funds on the specific wallets that are generated from that. So whenever you generate it, you want to be ideally alone in a dark room, no mobile phone, and you do not want to speak out the words out loud. Yeah, you really want it to be nobody looking over your shoulder. You just generate the seed words, you write them down as a backup, and then you stamp them later in metal and you burn that paper that you wrote them down on. This way, only you have access to the seed words and however your backup is made out of. Then for the backup, you can then have a system for your children, your spouse, and whatever, maybe your next family member, whatever it is, that you have a restoration system where they can get somehow access later if you wish so, but you shouldn't share your seed phrase from the get-go. All the times that people did this, they regretted afterwards because humans are sometimes just really, really sad creatures and they steal from each other. So you should be very careful with that. Never share your seed phrase. Always generate it only for yourself and make sure that you have appropriate backup so you can always restore it back. Can I take pictures of my seed and save it in the cloud? No, you should not save it in the cloud. You should never take pictures, because even the cloud is just someone else's PC. So basically, you're giving away your seed phrase. Malware and hackers can also get access to those other PCs. System admins can have access to your information. Even if it's encrypted, they might have an decryption key to access your data. The police might be able to access the data because they just, if they have a court order, they just go to the whatever provider you have, whatever cloud setup you have, whatever email you have, where it's stored. And if your picture is then stored in there, they have full access to it just because the court allows them to. So basically, never take a picture, never type your seed phrase into your PC or laptop or any keyboard. And also which also brings me to my next question, can I store my seed phrase in a password manager? And that is also a big no-no, because first of all, most of the times you're copy pasting it, or you're typing it into the keyboard just so it is in the password manager. Some password managers also have cloud backup, which then again makes it available for some hackers on and for the sysadmins and so on. There was actually just not too long ago, I think like was it more like 6 months? 6 or 8 months ago, there were addresses that are started just to get randomly hacked. And just recently, like 2 months ago or so, they figured out that all those people, the common thing that they did was they saved their private keys or their seed words in a password manager. I think it was 1Password or something like that. And they all get rinsed like one after another. And you saw that all those addresses accumulated the funds, sent them to a specific address, sent them out to an exchange address, and then got away with all those hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. Just because somehow they exploited the password manager, filing, saving, encryption system, whatever. That's very sad. So never type your seed words into the keyboard. Where was I? One hardware wallet can generate multiple seeds. Why do I need to buy multiple hardware wallets? The best practice is to have at least two on hand. So you have a backup in case of something happening to the original wallet. And it also allows you to do some testing with it. So when you set it up, you can, without having like the fear of doing something wrong with your initial wallet, you can do a test on the second wallet, so that you do a restoration, and then you see, oh yeah, everything is working on this one, my backup is secure, my backup is working, everything is fine, and this gives me peace of mind that I can delete, restore, lose, destroy this original hardware wallet, and I won't have any issues with it. And in case of a technical malfunction, you got immediately the backup, and you don't need to run around and get a second hardware wallet or wait for it to be shipped. And you don't have this emotional, quick reaction of fear and panic in the moment. Because if you have the backup, you're going to be chill, and you're just going to know what to do because you tested everything out in advance. Where was I? Take my pictures. There. Can I take my seed backup or my hardware wallet on a plane? And the answer to that is no. You should not be taking the hardware wallet on a plane, and you should not be taking your seed phrase on a plane, because anybody who has access to the seed, who has access to the hardware wallet, even if it's pin locked, there is a chance that the hardware wallet can get hacked, and there is a chance that if your seed phrase are taken on a plane, that somebody will search you and take or expose the keys by mistake or on purpose. And if you also put the seed words through one of those scanner machines, it is actually possible to read the information, be it in metal or be it in ink or be it in any other type of written form. There are ways to mitigate that if you really have to like change country or something. I'm going to do a video about that in the future. But what you can quickly do is have a system in place that is encrypting your seed phrase for a short amount of time, where only you know the decryption key, which is easily saved in your brain for just the transition, and you still have the backup in the original country or the original spot. You transition through the flight with the seed words, and then you decrypt it on the other side. You make sure that everything's working, that you can restore it, and then you go back, you destroy the original, you have your backup in the new country, in the new area, and then you're good. But if you don't take those extra measures, be it through encryption, be it through invisible ink, there are a few options that you can do. But if you don't do that, there is just a very high risk that you're going to lose access, or somebody else might get access to the information, which is your seed words, which is a critical loss. Next question. It's also still on the seed topic. I created my seed on a software wallet. Can I still use a hardware wallet? Which is a very, very common question. And that is a big yes. So ideally, in this case, you should get 2 wallets. And this is called a migration, where your seed words that were on the software wallet, they're already been exposed to a system that is higher risk. There is a chance of failure. There is a chance that somebody already has them or might get access to them in the future, because you most likely typed in the seed words. So they are in your RAM. They are in multiple files on your PC. They might be in the cloud for whatever reason. They are still stored on the hard disk. Even if you delete the files that you cannot see in the operating system anymore, the data is still there, and it might have been not overwritten yet by the operating system. So because of those additional risks that you have this with the seed phrase, which was created in a software wallet, you want to transfer them into a hardware wallet, but ideally not use the funds anymore. And this is especially for situations where you have a stake running or something time locked, or you cannot move the funds from this software wallet generated seed. Then you also still have the second hardware wallet that you get. Now you have 2, and over time you will want to transfer over any funds, any stakes, anything that is on the original software wallet, but then now added to a hardware wallet. You want to transfer that over to a seed that was only generated on the hardware wallet and never used on a PC or typed into a keyboard. Okay. Can I store my seed on a USB key? We covered that earlier already. Can I keep my hardware wallet connected to MetaMask? In general, yes. So if you want to have if you don't have a crypto-only laptop, you might want to take that extra precaution where you actually disconnect it and then connect it every time you use it. I think that's usually unnecessary, because you still have to verify on the device all the transactions. But it might be good if you have multiple hardware wallets, because sometimes the operating system doesn't differentiate between the different wallets, and there is conflicts between them. So your software wallet might recognize the hardware wallets wrong, and then you won't be able to use your software wallet. So in that case, let's say you have 5 ledgers and you want to all use them at the same time. Maybe you only want to connect one at a time, just so there are no interferences, no issues and you can actually use them properly. From personal experience, I've used multiple ledgers without issues, but I did hear that some people on some operating system had issues with them. And I also used multiple trezors at the same time, but again, I also heard that some people had issues with them. And I also used ledger and trezor at the same time, which should be fine though. So basically, yes, you can keep it connected in general, but if you do have issues, try to disconnect them, because that will solve most of your issues. And if you want that extra security. What happens if ledger or trezor goes bankrupt? Well, in that case, you can restore your seed phrase in any type of system that supports the BIP39 system, which is your 12, 24, and so on words. This is a standard that was created, and lots of different hardware wallets and lots of software wallets are actually able to restore the seed words that you generated on any of the devices. So any seed word which you generated on Ledger can also be restored to a Trezor, and vice versa, and also between other wallets. You can, as I said earlier with the migration, anything, for example, that was generated on MetaMask can also be used in and migrated and transferred to and imported to a ledger. So because the system is interchangeable, you will always be restore it, even if there is no more hardware wallets on the planet. All of them go magically kapoof, or if the company goes bankrupt, if they are taken over, whatever it is, the problem that is with it, you will always be able to restore the keys to another system that's using the same standard. And we have a question. Is that Robert Keller Jr.? Thank you for your question. You can always find a book that has all of your seed phrase words in it. Find the page, paragraph, line, and number of words to the right of the line. Add that into a cipher on a second paper. Oh, I guess you for an airport. Yeah, that's a smart way of doing it as well. Yeah, I like that. That would easily transportable into another country and airport without them figuring it out. Yeah, there are so many ways. This is a really good one. I like it. You can use ciphers, you can use ink, you can use a brain wallet for a short amount of time. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Thank you, Robert, for participating. And next question. Why do I need multiple wallets? Or should you use multiple wallets? And the answer for that is yes. Because ideally, you want to minimize your risk and you want to have separation for whatever you do. Not only do you want your hot wallet and your cold storage separated, and maybe even your seed phrases separated and multiple use cases, but you also want your wallets in themselves separated. So if you have one seed that's generating a bunch of wallets, your private and your public addresses, you want to have separation in those where you say, okay, wallet one on the seed phrase is only for using this specific DEX. Because this way I have my LP there, I have my trading amounts that I want to exchange on here. Maybe even it's for a specific coin, and then you're secure on that one because you know it's working and you're not taking any additional risk. You're not connecting to another contract or whatever. Then you maybe have a degen wallet where you're just trying out things, or a biohazard wallet where you're connecting to just random accounts and smart contracts just to see if they are honeypots, just to see if they are a scam, just to see if they are actually working and so on. So this way you never risk all your funds at once, and you have the separation between the different levels that you set up for your user funds. Maybe you want one wallet only for staking. Maybe you want one wallet only for trading, one for exchange, one for cold storage, one for using a specific smart contract, and so on. Now, there is a caveat that on some chains, it's fairly pricey to do this separation, like on Ethereum. If you have to have multiple wallets and then each of them has to be funded with like 20, 30, 50 bucks or whatever, you have to keep that in mind and manage it. But on chains like BSC, on Postchain, where the gas fees are rather cheap, there is nothing stopping you from using multiple wallets and separate your funds so that if the case happens that you're gonna get you're tired and you're misclicking something or you're interacting with a contract that is stealing your funds, that not all of your funds are at risk, but only your degen wallet or only your testing wallet of some sort. And then I got 4 questions about scams. What are send one ETH, get 2 back messages? And you can see them most of the times on like YouTube, on Twitter, sometimes on Reddit. You get private messages in Telegram and so on. And they're alluring you to send some funds in the hope of returning double back. And they make it out like it's a promotion or it's somebody really rich who has much to give and he just wants to like verify that you're a real user by asking you to send him funds, which is always a scam. Always. There is no one sending you Ethereum or Bitcoin or any other type of currency back if you send him something. There is no reason, and it's very, very sad to see thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars going away to the scammers. Never trust somebody who is giving you any type of promotion, any type of airdrop, any type of promise that he's going to send you something if you send him something first. Because there are no chargebacks on blockchains. Everything you do, everything you do is basically set in stone and cannot be reverted. On traditional finance systems, like in the banking system or credit card system, you have the option to contest a payment. You can revert a transaction. You can go to your bank and say, hey, this was fraudulent. This wasn't me. Somebody else did this. But on the blockchain, once you send something out, you can never get that money back. And most of the times it's international transfer where you are in Europe and then the hacker is somewhere in Vietnam or in China or whatever. And you will never see that money again. And there is no recourse. You cannot go to the police. You cannot go to a centralized party. You are your own bank and you have to take full responsibility for what you do. So be careful with those type of messages, promotions, fake scams, and so on. What about airdrops? Are airdrops real? Do they exist? Should I participate in airdrops because they are messaging me and they want to verify my address to be eligible for an airdrop? 99.9999% of the time, those are scams too. Anytime somebody is messaging that you have, especially in a private message or DM on Telegram, anytime there is a claim, a verification, or a wallet connection, or a free NFT that you're being offered, those are all scams, and they're all making you think that you get something airdropped for free, which is almost never the case. Like the only real airdrops are usually based on participation, and then there is not a private message that you get, but it's usually something that is set out on a website, or in case of Postchain, for example, where you just got the airdrop and then you have access to it without having to do any additional work for it. It's just there. But anytime you have to do additional work that is trying to connect you to something, trying to let you sign something specifically, those are usually always scams. So be very careful with those. What is a honeypot scam and what is a poison address tag? We covered those two, and that's it for today. We've been on it for like 1 hour, 10 minutes. That's a good ending here. Hey, and we got people coming in at the back as well. Darkmore crew, hello guys. Archie says, hey, Mr. Baum, we'll be in Portugal tomorrow. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Hit me up. I don't know where you are in Portugal, but if you are somewhere in the north, we can meet up. And we are also doing a meetup in Portugal, in Lisbon, on the 13th, 14th, I think it was. Wait, let me double check. Was it the 14th? It's Saturday, Sunday. No, it was the 14th and the 15th, which is Saturday, Sunday, October. We're going to do a meetup. And then on the 18th, I'm also in Lisbon for the Jordan Peterson talk. So yeah, if you're around there sometime, hit me up. Join the Portuguese channel, and then we can talk about it. Faro, where is it? Faro, then Tabaira, Lagos, and Lisbon only until 5th. Ah, so sad. That's too short. Too short. Send me some pictures. Well, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. If you liked it, please share, like, subscribe. Check out my how do I do that? Baumcrypto.etsy. Oh wait, I set this cool thing up. Oh, check out baumcrypto.etsy.com for my metal steel seed jig up solution. And if you like to have some coaching, hit me up on Telegram. Links in the description. See you next time. Stay safe.